All right, how's everyone doing? So, we've been wanting to do this video for a little bit. Everyone remembers this knife. This is from Dream Reach. It's a D2, if I remember correctly, D2 steel Tonto knife with a Kydex sheath. Then we have this one right here. This is a GTKII. This is a DC, right there, 53. Their model GTK 35, if I remember correctly. And it's got a FRN sheath. So, what are the differences between the two of these? Kydex and FRN. And which one's actually better? So, we're going to start with Kydex. Kydex sheath, is a nice, durable plastic. Okay? Molds fairly easy. Can take an impact pretty good. It does have its pros and its cons. Being that it's so easy to work with when you heat it up to mold it is like a really good plus. In fact, you can do these sheaths yourself very, very easily. And some people will fold it over and make a seam and then rivet it. This is actually two pieces. So you don't have to worry about it. It gives it a much, I think, cleaner look. But you can actually, I see people, oh, it's kind of loose, Let's see. The fit, This one doesn't rattle. Because people always have this big thing about their sheaths rattling, even though you're not jumping up and down. But anyways, and they'll say, oh, let's put a screw in it. Well, that's the beauty about Kydex. If it's rattling, it needs to be pressed a little bit more. You can actually use a high heat hairdryer, which is a little bit safer. You can use a heat gun, but the hairdryer is a little bit safer. You won't burn it. You'll burn it or blister this, so you're not careful, and get it hot. It takes about 5 minutes, and then you could actually mold it a little bit more. So that's the beauty of this, of Kydex. You can buy Kydex sheaths and do your own sheaths. Some guys use like a toaster oven. Don't know exactly the temperature, and they'll leave it in for like 5-10 minutes, and then they take it out, and it's really pliable. Now, what is the drawback to Kydex though? Kydex, if you leave it, like I said, you could take a hairdryer and soften it up. So if you leave this in your car, especially in direct sun, and it gets really hot in there, it will warp these. That is the drawback to Kydex. It cannot take a lot of heat. In fact, extreme cold will make them brittle. So you have to, in a way, be careful you're not exposing these sheaths to extreme heat or extreme cold, because they will not hold up. They will hold up to some chemicals, not a lot of chemicals, okay? So, but they are a durable sheath, okay? Riveted together, just like an FRN. And we'll get to what FRN means. But yeah, Kydex, real great, real simple. You can do it yourself. Like I said, you can shape them. You can even do the little shapes like the little thumb push right here and all that. You can get fancy with these, okay? And it has that infamous snap lock, so you know it's in there and it's not coming out, okay? So that's pretty much Kydex in a nutshell. Like I said, real easy. You can reshape it if you need to yourself and all that great stuff. Now, FRN. FRN stands for fiberglass reinforced nylon, and that's pretty much what this is. Okay, this is, it looks like Kydex, but it's not. This is all reinforced fiberglass with nylon in it. Okay, so, but what's the difference? Whereas this, you can just heat it up yourself and mold it. This you can't. You can take a hairdryer to this all you want. It's not going to do you any good. You literally have to have a mold for this, because this is kind of like poured, okay, is how FRNs work. So it's more like in a liquid form, and then you pour it, and then it's shaped when it cools down. So you can't really do, well, you could if you had the right equipment, FRN easily at home, like Kydex. So there's, I would say, the first con. You can't reshape it. Once this is hardened, that's it, it's a done deal. You can no longer heat it back up and reshape it, okay? This doesn't have that most infamous snap like Kydex. Most of them don't. But, I mean, you do hear a rattle. Now, I've noticed, because I have this one and another one that's FRN sheaths. They have a little bit of rattle, and I'll get to that, I think, why they do. Whereas, you know, Kydex has a tighter fit. So, what are the pros, excuse me, to FRN though? Extreme heat and extreme cold will not affect FRN, unlike Kydex. Okay? Won't do it. It will not hurt it. These are considered the tank of hard shell cases, FRN. It will withstand almost every type of chemical, whereas Kydex won't hurt it. That's why this is known as the tank of sheaths. Can you do it on FRN at home? Like I said just not too long ago, you have to have the right equipment, because this is poured into a mold, not shaped. Okay, that's why a lot of people go with Kydex, because they can do it themselves. But FRN, it's almost like bulletproof. Nothing will phase this or change it from just regular elements. What is a major con though to FRN? One of them, a lot harder to do yourself at home. The other one, they say, if the sheath isn't done properly, okay, it will dull your edge. Okay, the fiberglass will dull your edge. Now, that's where you hear the rattle? Okay. From what I've noticed with the two knives that I have, the way the FRN sheath is designed, that they've designed here, from JTKI, it grabs it up here. Okay. It's grabbing up here. That's what it's doing. So that means the blade at the bottom is not touching the sheath. It's not riding on it, so it can't dull it. Now, like I said, this is what they say. Have they really proven it does? I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked into it that much to see. But those are the two cons. But from my understanding, if you do the sheath properly, where it's grabbing it from the top and not the bottom, where that keeps that blade up away from the sheath inside, it won't dull your knife. So you do have to know a little bit more what you're doing if you do make your own FRN sheath, so it doesn't dull your blade out as quick as, you know, it would. Whereas Kydex won't. But Kydex is a lot easier that you can do at home. You do need your eyelets though. You need to buy eyelets, because that's the only way you're going to keep it closed. And you can add, you know, a belt loop or whatever to it. But, excuse me, bit tired today. But, which one's best is the big question. Kydex or FRN? I would think it's user preference. is basically where it comes down to. Now, these are G10 scales for the handles. The handles on this are FRN. So that means these scales will not change, because from my understanding, even G10 scales can change in heat and cold. They can kind of flex a little bit, whereas the FRN won't. That's the nice thing. FRN does not flex or anything like that, from what I understand. So I would say, like I said, it's user preference. I would say if you're doing like an everyday carry, you know, that's it, nothing strenuous, I would say go with Kydex. For sure, go with Kydex. For an everyday carry, just normal day use. I would say if you're going to be in conditions that are a little bit more extreme, whether it be heat or cold or real rugged terrain, I would go with FRN, because it's going to hold up better. And like I said, it's known as the tank of hard shell cases. So even the scales, like I've seen some people complain, like, because the scales aren't thick. The FRN scales on some of these aren't thick. They complain, oh, I don't like the scales because it's hollow, and I've had fiberglass handles and I dropped it and it broke. Well, there lies the question for this person who was saying that, because they didn't specify it. Was it just because there's different grades of fiberglass? Was it just straight fiberglass, or was it fiberglass reinforced nylon? Because if you drop this, like this reinforced fiberglass nylon, it's not going to just break on you. Like I said, it's tough stuff. They use this even on car parts now. Car parts, they use these on actually gears that are going to take an impact on machinery, and they hold up very well, okay? So does it beat carbon fiber? No, carbon fiber is actually tougher, but carbon fiber is more expensive and it's not as easy to work with. So, all right, but a step down from carbon fiber is FRN. So no, you're not, these scales don't have to be super thick. They don't have to be solid, because if you drop it, it's not going to chip it, it's not going to break it, it's not going to crack it. It is a tank. And I think that's why GTKI decided to use FRN, because they expect people to be out doing rugged things and want their stuff to last. Whereas everybody will use Mercado, G10, things like that, that's fine. But temperature will change those materials, whereas this won't. So, and GTKI, for their prices, it's very, very reasonable, okay, in my opinion. So I would say, yeah, everyday use, nothing spectacular, nothing extreme, Kydex. Go with Kydex. If you're going to be in extreme heat, cold, or really rugged terrain where it's going to beat the hell out of your sheath, maybe potentially, go FRN. This is my personal opinion, what I would do. I would go with FRN. So, because I have a lot of Kydex, a lot of knives with Kydex sheaths, and they are nice. I have 2 knives right now with FRN, and I like them. You almost cannot tell the difference. Like this one, it's kind of hard to tell the difference than this one, but you can tell if it's a nylon sheath. A lot of times you'll see the on some of them, you'll see the fiberglass pattern, okay? But you can sand it so you don't see it too. So there's a process you can do. But other than that, they're both good sheaths. It's just user preference. Most people go with Kydex because they can do it themselves. Whereas FRN, it's a done deal. Once it's cool, there's no changing it. So, hope you guys found this informative on the difference between Kydex and FRN. And put in the comments what you prefer the most, or what you would rather specifically use, why you use it, whatever. Put it down in the comments. I like to read it, see what your guys' preferences are. and we'll catch you on the next one.